Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show, Weekend Roundup, including stories about Chainlink, Tornado Cash, Iran, MakerDAO, and the Digital Ruble. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is August 13th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Monday. So Chainlink says they're not going to support any forked versions of ETH after the merge happens. Once they've transitioned from proof of work to proof of stake, after that, forked versions won't work. They wrote, quote, "Users should be aware that forked versions of the Ethereum blockchain, including proof-of-work forks, will not be supported by the Chainlink protocol. This is aligned with both the Ethereum Foundation's and broader Ethereum community's decision, achieved via social consensus, to upgrade the Ethereum blockchain to proof-of-stake consensus." Now, this is something of like a courtesy warning, letting the developers and their teams on Ethereum know that they should put their smart contract operations on hold. That's to, quote, "avoid unforeseen incidents and to help protect the end users." That said, they want to assure their users that they're doubling down on quality to make sure that they're ready for the challenges that the merge represents. They wrote, quote, "dApps operating on forked versions of Ethereum, including proof-of-work forks, might behave in unexpected ways due to both protocol and application level issues, introducing increased risk for users." Now, Chainlink is huge. They have their fingers all over the place. DeFi, NFT, gaming. Last June, they announced their live price feed, that it would be available for Bitcoin, ETH, and USDC. They said that there would be more coins covered. That was in June. By July, Bybit announced their integration of Chainlink's live feeds for 35 coins. This improves price accuracy for spot trades. Tuesday. Someone is spending a lot of money blasting hundreds of public wallets. Now, this is in response to the Tornado Cash ban. And of course, one of the questions around the ban is, how are they going to enforce it? Well, it would seem that some well-meaning prankster has decided to make the point. So what's happening is this anonymous troll is sending celebrities free money, because that's going to show them, right? Well, no, not really. Now, the point behind this ban is to show how difficult it is going to be for the Treasury Department to enforce a ban on a tool, in this case, a mixing service. They've gotten Fallon, Coinbase's Brian Armstrong, Logan Paul, he's been got. And when I say got, I mean someone has dusted them with Ethereum, just sent them a tiny little amount. So Monday, the U.S. Treasury Department sanctioned Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash is a mixing tool. It's designed to obscure the destination of a transaction by pooling it in with other transactions. That makes it much more difficult to work out where the digital cash was sent from. Now, OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, their stance is that criminals use the app to launder billions of dollars, and so they sanctioned Tornado Cash. And that act makes it illegal for U.S. citizens to interact with Tornado Cash. What does interact mean? It might mean receiving cash through the app. That now becomes illegal. But the fact is, you can't stop a person. If I want to send someone money, I just need to know their address. Anyone can do it. It's impossible to stop. Which, of course, is the point. That's why so many celebrities and companies got dusted. Because, really, are they going to put Jimmy Fallon in prison for 10 to 30 years just because someone anonymously sent him a tenth of an ETH? I guess that depends on whether Treasury considers that to be willful or not. Decades of economic sanctions have taken their toll on Iran, and those sanctions are forcing them to start using crypto as a medium of exchange. Those decades of economic sanctions have pushed Iran into placing their first international import order using crypto. They're using $10 million worth to pay for this order. This is all according to a senior government trade official. News of the order placed by Iran was shared by their Deputy Minister of Industry, Mine, and Trade. This comes to us from Reuters. They said, quote, "This week, the first official import order registration worth $10 million was successfully completed using cryptocurrency." They weren't particularly forthcoming with the details. We don't know what was purchased. We don't know what currency they used for the purchase. What we do know is that this is not the end of it. In fact, according to the minister, this represents the first of many such trades to be carried out. International trades settled by crypto. They're planning on accelerating this over the next month. They said, quote, "By the end of September, the use of cryptocurrencies and smart contracts will be widely used in foreign trade with target countries." This is no big surprise, really. They first announced that they were working on their Bitcoin infrastructure clear back in 2017. Now, until very recently, Iran was the most sanctioned country on the planet. Russia now has that honor. But still, Iran was hit with sanctions that basically pushed them into crypto. So they've had years to get ready for this kind of thing. In October of 2020, they changed the law to allow crypto to be used to pay for imports. That means Iran is the first country in the world to recognize Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. By January of last year, Iran has issued over 10,000 licenses for crypto mining. These come from the Ministry of Industry, Mine, and Trade, appropriately enough. There are reports of them offering whole power plants to miners. That crypto that they mine has to be sold to the Iranian central bank, and that's what they're using to pay for the imports. And so it was that last year, the Central Bank of Iran started allowing banks, currency exchanges, and miners to pay for imports using crypto. Not only that, but they're looking at introducing a CDBC, central bank digital currency. This is all a very big about face for the nation. Their history with crypto hasn't always been so pleasant. In fact, mining crypto in Iran was illegal until 2019. They seized 45,000 Bitcoin mining rigs. They blamed the miners for, quote, "intensive electricity use." Thursday. Rune Christensen is a co-founder of MakerDAO. He's making what some are calling radical suggestions in the wake of the Tornado Cash sanctioning. You see, MakerDAO has a problem. What Maker is set up to do is to let anyone swap crypto for DAI. The problem is that their semi-algorithmic stablecoin DAI. You see, more than a third of DAI is backed by USDC. And on top of that, a quarter of its assets are in Ether. Now, if Ethereum or if USDC becomes tainted, if it's been found to have interacted with Tornado Cash, it could be frozen. And for a business like Maker, that's a huge problem. So now we're kind of seeing the other side of DeFi. Because while DeFi itself is decentralized, it's in the name after all. That said, DeFi depends on stablecoins. And as yet, the widest used stablecoins are very centralized. And for good reason. Primarily they were safe, but they were easy to use, and most importantly, they were liquid. Now, while all of those are true, they are not permissionless, and they are not uncensorable. On the other hand, permissionless and uncensorable, those are exactly what projects like DAI want to be. So what Christensen is suggesting is removing all of the USDC from DAI's peg stability module. So it won't use that to maintain peg anymore. Then taking that $3.5 billion and sinking it into Ethereum, which would do great and crazy things for the price of Ethereum, at least in the short term. But when we're talking about sanctions against Tornado Cash, he said, quote, "It is a lot more serious than I first thought." He continued, dropping a huge bomb, quote, "I think we should seriously consider preparing to depeg from USD." Now, here's my concern. I think they need to go back to just a few weeks ago, because this is starting to sound very much like Luna and Terra USD, except you got Ethereum filling the role of Luna, and Terra USD is being played by DAI. Now, this kind of idea sounds great as long as number goes up. And while there's no algorithm involved, it's the same thing. It's very much like Luna. Lots of businesses were running into problems with their collateral. You see, they took out loans predicated on their crypto maintaining a certain value. When that value was no longer there, the system started to fall apart. And now, until crypto is massively decoupled from itself, you can't have crypto be collateral for crypto, because all crypto rises and falls pretty much at the same time in the same pattern. You can't count on one crypto to bolster the price of another crypto or a stablecoin, because they're all going up or down the same way at the same time. So if they do this, yeah, they'll be adding to the decentralized nature of DAI, but they're also putting its continued health at risk. Now, Christensen was saying that they could mitigate the risk of centralization by splitting the reserves up so no more than one asset has more than 20% of the total, which, you still have the same problem. If the value of the reserves is in crypto, you can't count on it to be there to offset when times are bad in crypto, because your savior will be sinking right along with you. Friday. Russia plans to push out their own central bank digital currency, or CDBC, in 2024. This comes from the Bank of Russia. In their latest monetary policy update, they said that the central bank will connect all the banks and credit institutions to a digital ruble platform. Now remember, this is in 2024. And like the United States, Russia is holding a presidential election that year. Theirs is in March. Vladimir Putin has the right to run for re-election, and I strongly suspect that he will do so. Another reason to pick that year is that's when they plan to complete their testing of customer-to-customer transactions using real money. That goes for customer-to-business and business-to-customer settlements as well. Starting next year, they're planning on beta testing digital ruble-based smart contracts. And this points to their plan for a gradual rollout with new trials and features coming out over time. So their schedule means that when the federal treasury is ready, the digital ruble will be able to handle customer to government, business to government, government to consumer, and government to business payments. In their year-by-year feature approach, they're planning on introducing offline mode by 2025, as well as integration of non-bank financial intermediaries, financial platforms, and exchange infrastructure. They said, quote, "The phased process of introducing the digital ruble will provide market participants with the opportunity to adapt to new conditions." The Bank of Russia pledged to cooperate with other central banks who might also be developing their own CDBCs. That way they can be ready to carry out cross-border payments and foreign exchange operations with other countries' currencies. I'm not sure that's a huge requirement, given that Russia is likely to be sanctioned heavily still in 2025, because of the war. That war is slowing down their other plans. Russia has fallen behind the goals that they set up to regulate the crypto industry. Now, Putin, he has been pushing for regulation to allow crypto adoption multiple times. Russia did adopt their own crypto law, but it was largely ineffective because it lacks regulatory components of things like mining, taxation, custody, and others. That's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. Take care of yourselves, but take care of each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.